Hello, people of Earth. Welcome to the Two Aliens podcast. And now, your hosts Noman and Nabil.
Hi guys, hope you're all having a very good day. I'm joined here with my friend and co-host Nabil. Nabil, how's it going, man?
Hey, my man, I'm good, man.
That was so fucking racist, man. What the fuck? Another mass shooting was last week in Odessa, Texas. Reports came out that 7 people were killed and 20 more were injured.
That's a lot, man.
That's a lot, man. I mean, the news that came after the mass shooting was what was really alarming. The guy did not have a background check on him, okay? And he didn't buy a gun from a licensed dealership. He bought the gun from a private seller. And private sellers don't really require a background check.
Private seller has, in a sense, like what? Like those guys who sell weed in the dark alleys and stuff?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe. But
Similarly, that would be the ones.
I guess so. I mean, private seller is anyone who is not an authorized dealer, right?
Yeah.
So it could be anyone, you know. It could even be an online store, perhaps.
No, online store guys have to be legalized.
Really?
Yeah, they have to.
Okay.
I mean, like, that's what I think so.
Okay.
If you're like, you have your own web. I mean, if you're a seller
Mm-hmm.
and you have your own web page or something, and you are like, letting people post their pictures of guns and stuff, and letting people sell their guns and stuff, you gotta be legalized in some way or some other way. I think so. That's what my opinion is.
At the end of the day, the problem is the guy had a mental health issue.
That's always the same, man.
No, listen, the guy had a mental health issue which automatically disqualified him from buying guns from a dealership.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then he ended up buying guns from a private seller, and then he shot
on a
people.
rampage,
Man.
yeah.
Went on a rampage, went on a killing spree, shot so many people.
Man, did they announce any motives behind this person? Why did he do that? Or any idea at all?
And at the end of the day, I think what the problem is, we are quite quick to label Muslims as terrorists, but when it comes to people of other faith or other skin color, or as you can say, people of privilege, it's always a mental health issue. Okay, no denying this guy did have mental health issues. You can't go on a killing spree if you're sane of mind.
So, man, about this thing of guns and stuff, yeah, it's crazy, man. How the way people are going on a rampage and doing.
Man, the thing is,
a lot of
people
killing and
are
stuff.
very passionate about their guns. People are very passionate about their guns. Not gums, I mean guns. I wish people were passionate about their gums. Then you wouldn't see people with horrible teeth. Anyways, yeah, people are very passionate about their guns. The NRA, in my opinion, does a very good job at keeping these people, keeping people who already have guns buy more guns, and introducing new people to more guns.
But I think it's in their constitution, right? They have the right to buy them.
And you have the right to bear arms, that's correct. I cannot deny that. And yes, it's in the constitution. Nobody's taking your guns away from you. The problem is, there's no need to have extra guns where you can probably survive with a rifle. Why are you able to buy AR-15s with customized stocks?
It's like,
I mean, it's not Call of Duty, man. It's real life. I mean, you're able to buy guns that are used in warfares.
yeah, man. Those.
That is freaking crazy, man.
You remember? You just reminded me of an incident in New Zealand, the one Christchurch shooting thing.
Christchurch shooting, yes.
Man, the guy had guns, a stack of guns first of all, and then they were modified guns.
Yes.
Freaking crazy, man. Freaking crazy. The amount of money they're spending on their weapons just to make it more accurate. It's
Yes.
scary, man. It's scary. I think there should be a check and balance in terms of health-wise, physically, financially. You gotta check out everything of a
Man,
person.
what I don't understand is, why can, let's say, a mentally unstable person buy a gun? Why can someone with a criminal record buy a gun? Why can someone who has been involved in gun incidents buy a gun?
Man, yeah, that's the big fat ass question to ask.
Yeah.
Actually, the thing is, But for this incident, the one with the mental issue, I gotta say, man, he just went to some place else to buy those guns, and that's the issue. Once you buy from those, people who are selling them illegally or whatever way, the cops can't go and catch every one of them.
Yeah, but then
That's
even
the issue, man. It's hard for them to.
Yeah, but then
track
even
them down.
legally, man, even legally, people are buying guns and they're going on killing sprees. So many mass shootings happen. I mean, mass shootings are like what, once a month, right? Now it's like every month you get to see a mass shooting, and a mass shooting in school you get to see like once or twice a year.
Yeah, I was actually coming to that
That's
point
the
also.
most fucked up part, man. You're sending your kids to school and you're not even sure if they're gonna return back home.
Exactly, man. It's unpredictable scenario happening in the States, man, in the USA.
I don't think it's a right or left issue. I mean, I don't think it's something you should you should have an opinion about based on which party you support. It's a humanitarian issue because humans are getting killed, people are getting killed, kids are getting killed, man.
I could be wrong. The reason why I think is that the why these guys are having those, why they request to have guns and stuff is because you never know. They say, maybe I could be wrong. They say that they gotta defend themselves from governments and
From the government and the army.
and the army and the aliens and all that shit and stuff. You never know, somebody could attack them, so you gotta be prepared. Some even claim that the ones who are living in the rural areas, in the villages and all that stuff, they gotta protect themselves from gangsters and animals and all that stuff. So that's why they feel that they
Yeah,
want to have
again,
those
but
guns.
I don't have a problem with listen. If it's in the law, it's in the law, right? And you should respect the law. But problem is having access to guns. You can shoot entire churches or mosques with.
Yeah, finishing up whole magazines and stuff, and even
Exactly,
having a stack
man.
of stuff even behind,
Exactly.
fully loaded, and not just one gun. Yeah, multiple weapons they have with them. So yeah, it's crazy. It's a very it's a very sensitive topic. On one hand, some people they claim that you gotta have those guns. On the other hand, I feel you should completely remove them from the market. But then again, it's a huge business, and if
Yeah, I
the
mean,
government,
guns aren't going anywhere, man. And
yeah,
NRA has so much money invested
exactly.
in gun lobbying. This business is not going anywhere. Simple as that. I mean, NRA is actually paying lawmakers in Australia to bring back guns in Australia. If you remember
Whoa.
back in the 90s,
Serious?
yes, back in NRA, man, NRA is the National Rifle Association,
I know that one.
okay,
Yeah.
of USA, okay,
But they
but they
have
operate
influence?
they operate worldwide. They operate worldwide, man. And the problem is, back in 90s there was a mass shooting in Australia, and at the time, the government in Australia was conservative, not liberal. Okay, the government decided that enough is enough. We're going to take away all the guns. Since then, okay, there haven't been any mass shootings. Of course, there have been a few incidents, right? But as far as mass shootings are concerned, zero. The number has dropped completely.
And just recently, by the way, New Zealand also decided to cancel this thing of, they were saying that
They're gonna take away all the
yeah,
guns, right? Yeah.
and up to a certain percentage they have achieved that
Yeah.
goal. But think, man, that's what I'm saying. On one hand, some people they claim that they have the right and they should. It's one way of defending themselves.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, some people they claim that the guns should be taken away. But I think, as you were saying, yeah, there are huge lobbies and huge organizations on the back hand who are like paying huge bucks.
I mean, people who have guns, okay, they can have many motives to have guns, as you mentioned. Okay, one of the motives is not trusting the government, and let's be honest, the governments, not just talking about USA here. Okay, the governments in many countries, people don't generally trust them, right?
Yeah.
And then there's another motive that, okay, he has a gun, maybe I should have a gun too.
Exactly.
Right? That's a factor that many people don't realize, because they're like, okay, my neighbor has a gun, maybe I should have a gun too. Okay, then the neighborhood factors come in.
Yeah.
Like if you're living in a neighborhood where the crime rate is high, okay,
You gotta defend yourself.
yeah, you gotta defend yourself, man. In some cases, I mean, many liberals or people on the far left, they're gonna say that, no, you should take away all the guns. First of all, let's be realistic. Yeah, you can't take away all the guns. Okay, and people who are living in areas,
Those slums
okay,
and ghettos.
exactly, okay, in areas, in projects, or in neighborhoods where the crime rate is very high, okay, the best way to defend yourself is having a weapon on you.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Okay, if someone is coming if someone is coming into your home with a gun, okay, you can't defend yourself with a knife.
Exactly, man. It's like you're going over there, man. You instantly you're gonna be dead in few seconds.
Yeah.
You're pointing your knife to the person. The guy has a gun. He's gonna shoot you in the head.
Yes.
He's not gonna think about anything else.
Yes.
So yeah,
But the best logical approach in this situation is to have background checks, and to have background checks of current gun owners as well. Just to
but
make sure.
Numan, it's once again, it's useless. It's pointless to have checkups on these guys because, as you were saying, in slums and ghettos,
Yeah.
there is no check and balance. The cops, they don't show up in those slim alleys and all those areas.
Yeah.
They don't want to get themselves killed, and they don't want to go and tell those guys, man, come on, hand over the guns, or we want to do a mental checkup. You don't want to take the risk.
Yeah.
So it's like even in the Southeast Asian countries, in the rural areas, in the villages areas.
No, I mean it doesn't only have to be about the mental checkup, man. If you've had a criminal record, I don't think you should have a gun on you.
But then, listen, the thing is,
unless you're completely reformed.
Now, for example, I'm saying this thing. For example, there was a guy, okay, he had a gun, he killed someone, he was put into jail.
Mm-hmm.
But now the other party, the victim party, they were like, now we're going to take revenge, okay, on this guy. So when he comes out from the jail, okay, whenever he comes out,
I get your point. He has to protect himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he has to buy a gun to defend his ass, man. You never know. Maybe after like 5 years out of jail, one night he's in his home, and the next thing is that he opens the door and boom, he's dead. So yeah, you gotta be. This is where it gets messy. It's like.
Man, the problem is the lawmakers have to find a solution because.
Either you abolish it completely,
mass shootings are not gonna stop. See, there has to be some middle ground. You cannot abolish it completely. NRA has a lot of lobbying power, as I mentioned, not just locally but internationally as well. And the problem with taking away all the guns is you're basically throwing away a whole industry from your country.
Exactly, man.
You get the point?
Yeah. And not as you mentioned industries. Not just NRA who are promoting this system, but even the ones who are making these weapons, these industries and those factories.
Yeah, because they're working with NRA.
Yeah, exactly. And there are thousands of employees working for them.
Exactly.
So if you cut off this whole system, you're cutting off those jobs,
exactly.
Man.
And listen,
the livelihood, exactly.
Yeah, listen, militaries have contracts.
No, okay.
Militaries have contracts with manufacturers, right?
Of course.
Okay, this is different. The most profit that they make, okay, is from people. It's from private people, right?
Exactly.
And let's say you're cutting your biggest source of revenue, right? How are you going to survive?
Exactly, man. Exactly. And the thing, plus, as Numan was saying, that NRA is having international, influence outside USA. Then I guess they're selling guns outside also. So it's like if you cut off from within the country, you're cutting off the clients from abroad also. It's like a loss for the company. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get
it's
what
like
you're saying.
They're gonna be, not gonna make profit out of it. So it's gonna be a huge loss for them. So because you see that companies, they sell not just to one party, they sell to the other party also. For example, a country A is waging war on country B. So
they're selling to both countries.
Yeah, they will be selling to both countries, and country B will also demand to have guns in return.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. So if you shut down one source, it's gonna get messy. And second of all, okay, even if you shut down one source, other companies will pop up also. So it's hard to catch all of them. And illegally, guns are also made in huge bulk. How many people can you catch and put them in prison? So
yeah, but you have to start somewhere, man.
I know you have to start. But by the way, you just reminded me of this video I was watching, and this news channel in the Middle East, they made a report of Southeast Asian country, and they went to this rural area in the village, and this whole village is just dedicated to making guns. That's it, clean cut. Like they just make guns of different shapes and sizes. Even they make bullets. and they even have this one area where you can try out your weapons and stuff.
I
And
think you're
it's-
talking about Pakistan.
Exactly,
And you're
bro.
talking about the Vice documentary. If
I
I'm
don't
not
know if it's
mistaken.
Al Jazeera or someone. I think
It
so.
was Vice, I'm pretty sure. I've seen that
Yeah,
documentary.
that's crazy.
It
thing.
was the northern areas of Pakistan,
Exactly,
right? Close
the-
to Afghanistan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the
where
thing
the
is,
Taliban influence still remains.
yeah. So now
to a certain
the
degree.
shop owners over there who are making guns, their concern is that their generations and generations of people, families have been doing this kind of business. So now, if the government comes in and tries to interfere and tries to, what the government was saying basically was that they want to implement a rule. Okay, you guys can make your weapons and stuff, but you gotta be like legalized,
Licensed.
exactly
Licensed.
licensed. Yeah, on that thing actually,
Regulated.
exactly, so that they can pay taxes also. But now that's the fear among the people in that area is that they're gonna shut down the place or they're gonna bribe those guys. Like they're gonna ask for more money and stuff, extortion thingy. So yeah, it's a huge mess up. But the thing, back to the point, my purpose of saying all of this was that it's kind of scary, man. That's just one village. Just think about this in that same country, how many other villages are producing on a large scale like these weapons and stuff. So how many can you stop them? Even in other countries, also this thing is going on. So yeah, it's a huge mess
Yeah,
up,
but
man.
again, we're not talking about gun manufacturing here, man. We're talking about mass shootings. And how you can control mass shootings, I think the best way to go forward is to make background checks mandatory and strict.
Mm.
Because, first of all, you cannot take away all the guns, you cannot shut down manufacturers. But the best thing you can do in this situation is make sure that people who are mentally ill or people who have aggressive tendencies, they don't have access to guns. And the other thing you can make sure is you can't make sure is that you can't buy these assault rifles or stock rifles. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
first of all, an AR-15 is already crazy. Okay, and then you are adding more stock to it.
exactly, man. Exactly.
I
yeah.
mean, this is real life. Again, this is not Call of Duty or PUBG.
Oh, talk about Call of Duty and PUBG games. Those kind of games are so popular among kids, and even parents are complaining about this issue that uh, uh, these kind of video games, are they having mental issues or harmful effects on children? Numan, what do you think about this?
See, okay, I'll make 2 points first, right? So, I believe games are good for kids. Okay, I believe games are good for kids. I'm not talking about shooter games here. Okay,
Yeah,
So
well,
just
that's what I'm
hold your
looking at
horses.
you. I'm like,
Yeah.
which guy? Wow, man, seriously?
No, games, especially games that are build that are skill based. Okay, I think those games are very good for kids in developing what do you call problem solving skills,
Oh, yeah.
right, and critical thinking skills.
Yeah. Yeah, so those games are so uncommon now. For example, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, and recently the next game which is gonna come up and most people are expecting is the Doom sequel from Bethesda and ID, I think so. Yeah, so these games are violent, man. These games are more in demand
Yeah,
actually.
but not really, man. People are buying all types of games. You're just looking at one side of the picture here. People are still buying games like Overwatch, and people are still buying games
Which
like
has guns in it.
which
Overwatch.
has guns in it.
So?
People, let me get to the point. People are still buying games like Minecraft. People are Super Mario on the Nintendo. What do you call?
Those are like, yeah, those baby games. Super Mario Brothers. Okay, sorry, I hope I don't want to offend the guns who play Super Mario. Yeah, Super Mario Smash Bros. But I think something was
Not Smash Bros. The one that came out recently in the new Nintendo DS device.
Yeah,
So-
something. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, okay, there are games out there.
Yeah, that game is actually one of the best-selling game. It was actually the best game of the year and one of the best-selling games of the year
Like for all people.
for all
For
in
all
general.
ages?
Yeah, for
Ah,
all
okay,
ages.
because
So I mean, you're just looking at one side of the picture. Let's be clear, like there are easily more than 100,000 games. Okay.
yeah, okay, annually every game, like annually.
And as a parent, I think it's your responsibility to make sure what type of games your kid has access to. Listen, I mean, it's the technological age, right? You're using a phone, you're using a laptop, you have a device with you all the time, you have smart TVs, okay? So you can't really keep your kids off these things. What you can do is you can schedule times. Like let's say, okay, you can schedule a time where the kid is studying, so you can set up an app or you can set up an application on a desktop system, okay, that once that time is over, that your kid is no longer able to use their device.
Yeah.
Right. Another thing you can do is you can block them from downloading apps, okay, that are violent. So, for example, in mobiles, I'm pretty sure you've heard PUBG is all the craze now. It has, I think, more than 10 million or more than 50 million downloads.
Man, yeah, exactly. It is
more than 100 million actually. I'm sorry.
Plus even Fortnite also.
Yeah, and Fortnite as well. Fortnite is actually a console or Windows-based game. But even mobile gaming has increased over time. So many more kids are playing games on their mobiles than ever. So again, I'll get back to the point. As far as games are concerned, I don't think you should stop your kids from playing games. Okay. I mean, there have been studies, and if you would like, I can cite them as well, because I was recently writing an article about impact of video games on kids. There have been studies that show a positive correlation between games and developing neuromotor skills, building good hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, reflexes and all that stuff.
Yeah, and building these critical thinking and problem-solving skills.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's get to the dark side of gaming. First of all, okay, what I feel that parents should do more is, read the label rating on a game. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
before taking your
before
child.
buying, man, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, I turned out fine, but me and Nabil, we are from the PS2, PS1 generation, right?
Yeah.
So when we were growing up, we were around the same age as kids these days who are playing PUBG. Okay, and we did play some violent games back in the day,
man,
right?
Exactly.
And listen, not every kid responds the same way. Okay.
Like
I mean,
I would say that I think even during our time, as you were saying, there were violent games.
There were many violent games, man.
Remember the time Mortal Kombat came out, the first
Oh
edition?
my goodness.
Mortal Kombat was
Listen,
crazy.
how old were you when you played Mortal Kombat for the first time? I was, I think, 9 years old, man.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah, something
Around the
that,
same age,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, that is a very young age to see all that violence,
And then
right?
you're seeing this guy's taking out the skull of spine.
Yeah, and
plus-
taking out their spines.
Ah, shit, man. But okay, we turned out. Yeah, you were right. We turned out fine.
We turned out fine, but that doesn't
But-
mean everyone else does, right?
Exactly.
And here's where parents need to be more proactive. Like back in our age, I still feel that we did have a balance between video gaming, and playing actual sports.
we
Being
used to-
physically active.
I remember. Okay, my solution to this thing is I'll quickly say that.
I mean, video games used to be a reward, if you recall it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Because you would play. I mean, you would go out and play every day, right? You would go out and play every day, whether it was football or whether it was basketball.
Man, the good old days. Shit, man.
The good old days, man. Yeah.
Seriously. Okay, now we're gonna sound
on,
old.
Yeah, and on the weekends, you could play video games, right?
And yeah, exactly. Even if suppose you're playing on weekdays, it's like you might play maximum 1 or 2 hours, and then in the afternoon people definitely go outside and they do something else. Like as Numan was saying, playing sports or something.
But nowadays, I mean,
it's completely changed, man.
Completely changed because now you have a mobile. Okay, you have PUBG in your mobile. You're like, I can just sit here and play games all day.
And
the problem with many of these games, shooting games, okay. First of all, as I mentioned, the rating system. Second of all, many shooting games, many online games, many player versus player games like PUBG, like Call of Duty, they have a voice chat system and they have a direct chat system.
Yeah.
Okay. The toxic culture in gaming is real. It's real, you cannot deny it. Okay, people get harassed all the time, people get bullied all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, people are using such bad language that you cannot even fathom. I mean, they're using language, we didn't even know was possible.
Yeah, exactly. And if adults are playing this Call of Duty or Battlefield on multiplayer on whatever you call it online, and then they're having communication, and then some kid joins the chat room or whatever you call that, and then you see abusive language is being used over there, and then this kid is gonna pick it up, and he's gonna use it among his friends or in his family circle. So it's crazy.
But also the issue of harassment, man. Bullying happens a lot in gaming.
Yeah, man, exactly.
Bullying happens a lot. I mean, the gaming industry tries to hide it, but it's something you cannot hide. I would say Overwatch has done a very good job in trying to control bullying and trying to control the toxic culture
How?
in some ways. Okay, so what they've introduced is like if someone is being toxic, right? If someone is just using bad language against you,
Yeah.
and while you're still in the game, so you can't
Yeah.
really block them while you're still in the game, right? What
Okay.
you can do is you can mute them, right? So
Oh,
when you
it's
mute
like-
them, you can't hear their voice messages, you can't see their text. Okay, so
Oh.
you're completely filtered out of all that toxicity.
Wow.
And once the game is over, you can simply block the user.
But this thing is, who issues the complaint? Who informs the Overwatch guys, like, to shut it down? Like,
No, you do it yourself. I mean, so if
the
someone is
player
being
can-
toxic, you just click on their profile, right click on their profile, and just select mute. Right?
Ah,
And there's
okay.
also a profanity filter. Okay, so if someone is using bad language, it just gets
That's good. That's good.
it just gets extraized.
Yeah, I was reading in the papers, and there was this mention in the Middle East. There's this country. The government basically is trying to say that within that country, people who are using the PUBG game, they want to shut down the chat rooms.
What?
Only in that country. Why? Because they are fearing that harassment issues can pop up.
I think you're talking about UAE, right?
Yeah,
Dubai.
exactly. UAE as a whole, the parliament is coming. So there are some ministers. They are trying to implement this rule, and they brought it up in the parliament that they should consider this.
But how?
I know it sounds crazy. I don't know how. I don't know how they're gonna do it.
I don't
It's not-
even think it's possible, man. Been in India and Bangladesh, there have been cases of kids suffering strokes, and there was this one kid who went into a rage fit, and I think he killed his father after playing PUBG. Yeah,
That's
man,
crazy,
this is
man.
all real. This is
Shit.
all real.
That's man.
Again, this happens from lack of attention, man.
Damn, man.
We get to the same point. It happens because of a lack of attention, and it's not even like you don't have any options to monitor your kids or control what type of content they're seeing or what type of games they're interacting with. I mean, if you have a Windows laptop, okay, if your kid is using a Windows laptop, use the Windows Family Safety feature. If you have Windows 10,
But the
okay.
kids can unblock it, right? Nowadays, kids are freaking smart, man. They can do this shit. They can reverse.
No, but
everything.
if they do, you'll get a notification. If they're trying to do anything sketchy, you're gonna get a notification, man. Unless the kid is a professional hacker. Okay, then it's better to stay away from the kid. And you have these applications in your phones as well. There's an application called FamiSafe. Okay, basically allows you to. So what you do is, as a parent, you download the application on your phone and you download the application on your child's phone. Right? So your child's phone will have the child account on it. Okay. So then you can basically block apps. Okay.
But what if the kid removes the application from his mobile?
They cannot remove. Even to uninstall the app, he has to have a password, which only you have.
Cool. Not bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it works, man. And you can track their location in real time. You can schedule using time. So when it's studying time. Okay. You can make sure your kid is not playing PUBG. And all these things. But yeah, man, I mean, as a parent, you have to be more vigilant. Okay, you have to take the security of your child in your own hands.
Exactly. Man, before we move on,
So
I just want to say.
sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
To give you my verdict, I would say that yes, video games, especially shooting video games, can be violent. And as a parent, you should try to make sure that your kid is not getting access to video games. That can lead to aggressive tendencies later on in their life.
Yeah, I just wanted to add two things in this conversation. That Numan, as you were saying, when kids go to the market to purchase these games, the families or the parents, they just gotta check out the rating system. If it's for the adults or for the kids.
Many kids are actually buying games online, man.
Yeah,
as you know, PlayStation and Xbox have their own online stores.
Yeah.
Many people nowadays don't really buy CDs anymore.
Yeah,
So-
maybe that's what I'm saying. I'm old school guy. That's what I was thinking. I was taking into consideration,
Yeah.
and I was still thinking that maybe parents, they go with their kids to the shop and they buy the hard copies. of
No,
them.
you actually have a good point because before a kid puts a CD in the shopping cart, okay, have a look at it, have a look
Exactly.
at the rating.
Man, and they
Okay.
even have on the back of the cover of the CD, they even have the description of the game, what it's
Exactly,
for.
exactly.
So just quickly go through it and see what your kid is going to play or what he's going to
Exactly.
purchase. Second thing is that during people still among my friends whom I know, they play console games. even though they are married now and they have kids, but they still play games. Even me myself, in the old days, we used to, our families used to place those TVs and consoles in the living room or in the place where they can view what the kids are playing.
Yes.
Otherwise.
Yeah, because absolutely correct. Because nowadays kids have TVs in their rooms, man.
Exactly.
They have
man.
all the setup in their rooms.
Exactly. So that's what I was coming to. Like, this is a solution for the parents who are listening to. Like, you can come up with the idea of like placing. Tell your kids like, okay, fine, you want to play these games, fine, you can play them. Not just gun games.
Play in front of us.
But play like in a place where we can observe, we can see what you're doing, and then obviously like okay, this kid has been playing for 1 or 2 hours, fine. Then you can keep a balance, you can keep a check on him. But if the kids have their own rooms and they have their own consoles in their rooms, you don't know how long is he playing, you don't know when he's playing, in the morning or the night, and daytime or nighttime.
Yes.
So this is one solution.
And obviously many kids nowadays download games online, right?
Yeah.
The best way, because at the end of the day you're the parent, you're paying for them, okay? So you should have a say in what type of games they download. So before they're downloading any game, you should have a look at the ratings of the game. That's a very simple way to look at it. As far as mobile usage is concerned, now I would like to reiterate this, that mobile gaming adds a whole new dynamic, right? So you can basically be lying in you can basically be in the lounge or the drawing room, okay? And you could have your headphones on, and some guy is swearing at you while you're playing PUBG or while you're playing some game.
Yeah,
it's quite common and it's quite possible. So again, to counter this, you should have a real talk with your child. And if your children are very young, what I mean by very young is less than the age of 13 or 11.
Yeah.
So you should definitely have a parental control app on their phones.
Plus, you gotta keep an eye on them, that if your kid is not bullying someone, or is not getting bullied by someone.
Exactly. It might be that your kid is not being bullied. He is the bully, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He or she is the bully.
So you gotta keep an eye, and you gotta keep your ears open, man.
Exactly.
And
that's a good point.
Yeah. So I would say, man, nowadays, as Numan was also saying once again, you gotta keep an eye on your kids and just see whatever things they are purchasing or downloading.
Yes.
And I know it sounds a lot of work, but if you're really into this thing, you will make time and you will keep an eye on them. And after all, this is the sensitive age, and this is the time when your kids are learning everything, they're picking everything up, their minds are sensitive. And so if you are responsibly taking care of them and telling them what is right and wrong, the future will be bright for them. Otherwise, God forbid, scenarios like gun shootings and whatever you call them, this can happen again in the future. So Numan, if you want to add something
right
else.
I mean, no, they stole words right out of my mouth, man. Excellent closing. And on that note, we'd like to end today's podcast. If you liked the podcast, please like and share, subscribe. And hopefully we'll see you next week. Nabil has something to add.
Oh yeah, folks, press the bell icon button in case if you want to be updated with all the latest videos and stuff.
Thank you for your time. Take care. Peace.
Peace, guys.
Thanks for listening. We hope you liked the podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and check us out on Facebook and Instagram. You won't regret it. 2 aliens, out.